Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Naif Mubarak on our Cinco de Mayo edition of Instagram and Facebook Live. Just wait a few moments for everyone to get started, and we're going to have a very interesting topic for you all to discuss today. So first and foremost, we all know it's Cinco de Mayo. Hope everybody's out and celebrating. And although many people believe that it's Mexicans' Independence Day, it's not. It's just celebrating a battle in the city of Pueblo back in May 5th in 1862. Hey, Livia, thanks for joining. So since it is Cinco de Mayo and many Americans are celebrating Mexican culture and Mexican culture and everything else, we are going to talk about what visas and options are available for Mexican citizens and nationalities. So let's go ahead and get started. So before we talk about visas available for Mexican citizens, there are several options for them. We're going to go ahead and talk about our good news first. So a couple of months ago, we had people who were now applying for TPS Venezuela and are now eligible to seek protections on our TPS. So we had a lot of people hire us from Venezuela. One of these young men came to hire us. And as he did, I was researching his case. Turns out he already had an order of deportation that he had no idea was already in his name. So you hear us say over and over again, if you do not appear for immigration court, you will be removed in absentia, that due to your absence, the judge has placed you in removal proceedings. So this young man had an order of removal. He swore up and down to me and Gloria that he never received notice of the court hearing. So what we did is we obtained copies of his records from the court. We did a FOIA request. FOIA stands for Freedom of Information Act, where we are able to get copies of his records. And in the court records, we did actually find that he never received notice in the courtroom. So what this young man told us and why he missed court was exactly true. And the government ordered him deported, and he had no idea why. So we were able to get his records. We filed the motion to reopen. We showed proof from the government's own records that he never received notice of the hearing and he should not be ordered deported. Well, today we received the good news that our motion to reopen was granted. He's no longer deported, and now we can continue with his asylum case in front of the judge. Gloria and I are ecstatic. We're happy for him and that individual. And it's moments like these that are so incredible when we do our diligence and get people's records in order to find out what option somebody has. Took several months to get. So I'm happy that it all worked out in the end. And now we'll be able to continue with his asylum. Okay, so Cinco de Mayo. Of course, it's more than just tequila and misconceptions about Mexico. But I do appreciate the aspect when Americans are celebrating our neighbors to the South's culture and history. So I wanted to do today's live based on the different types of visas that are available for Mexican nationals who are looking to come to the United States. So, first, happy Cinco de Mayo, of course. And so let's get started with what options are available. So the E-2 investor visa, I've talked about this visa. Probably one of the most common visas I've talked about on our lives, where people who are citizens of certain countries that have signed a treaty with us in the United States are eligible to invest in the United States and obtain a visa and status here. We see a lot of these visas with food trucks, franchises, small restaurants, startups. It's a great option for many people. But if you're not a citizen of a country that qualifies, then you would not be eligible for this visa. So Canada, Mexico, Spain, Italy, these are all treaty national countries. Other countries like Brazil and Portugal are not eligible for this type of investor visa. So that's a great option for Mexicans because Mexico has signed a treaty with the United States and does allow for the investor visa for Mexican nationals, where we process them a lot of times in Mexico City. So that's a great option. People do these fairly often, and there's not a minimum investment amount. A lot of times we hear about this EB-5 $1 million visa. We've done E-2 visas for as low as like 40, 50,000. And, they can go up from there. There's not a significant or particular number in the law, but the formula is it must be substantial and not marginal. So I believe that the E-2 visa is a great option, not just for Mexican citizens, but for all people who are eligible. And we have a full list of this on our website at mubaraklaw.com. If you want to check out the full list of countries, Trinidad Tobago is one. So it's Colombia is another one. So there's a lot of options out there for E-2 visa. Okay, so we also have the TN-NAFTA Professionals. What is this visa? This is a treaty national, basically North American Free Trade Agreement, right? So this is Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America, and they had a free trade agreement. This visa is available for Mexican nationals who qualify, as well as Canadians. Now, this is a little bit more particular because you have to qualify for a certain industry under this visa. So there's certain professional jobs that are only listed, and this is available for Mexican citizens. This is available for Canadian citizens if you have certain degrees, and it's a really good option that's not subject to any kind of like cap. So this is a great option for many people who are on TN, and I think it's a really good one. It's good for up to 3 years. Your spouse and your children can come with you who are under 21 and not married. So today's whole Cinco de Mayo Live is basically talking about visas that might be available for Mexican citizens. We've talked about E-2 and then the TN visa, and it's up to 3 years. And it's only qualified professions. And these jobs are specified in the regulations and specified in the law. And you can actually see it on uscis.gov. A full list of the professions are there. Mr. Muhammad, I see you saying hello. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Eid Mubarak for all who celebrated earlier in the week. I know I spent a lot of time with my family. And for those who I haven't seen, I hope you had a wonderful holiday. So another one that we see very common with Mexican nationals and Mexican citizens is an H2A. Okay, these are what's called a temporary agricultural worker. So all these people who cross over from Mexico to the United States under H2A are coming here temporarily to help, tend the crops, to help farm. A lot of the food that's on our table comes from these workers who are here for a temporary period. So they have contracts with these large farms in the United States, and they are processed and they are allowed to come here to work for a seasonal period. And this has a very specific list of countries as well as to those who can do it. So I see a lot of you have just joined. So just to recap, we are doing a Cinco de Mayo Facebook Live talking about visa options for Mexican citizens. We always hear about deportation and the border, but there's so much more that Mexicans contribute to our country and through treaty agreements and through these temporary agricultural agreements. So I thought it would be fitting today to share that with you all. Besides the temporary agricultural workers, there's also what's called an H-2B. H-2Bs are seasonal, non-agricultural workers. We see H-2B very often in the hotel or service industry. So if people are coming and going just to, for summers in Miami or west coast of Florida, the H-2B is a very common visa that we see people come to work on in non-agricultural temporary workers. So again, these are huge companies, usually staffing companies, looking to help fill the void. Now, obviously, I think every employer in the United States right now is talking about we can't find workers, we cannot find employers. So we are looking to see if Congress is going to act on having more work type visas like H-2As or H-2Bs to allow to help fill our seasonal needs, whether it's in agriculture or whether it's relating to service industry like the theme parks. So as you know, that's a lot of the options we see here. We did start this live talking about the E-2 on investor visas. That is available for Mexican citizens. We talked about the TN professional visas. All of these visas are listed on our website. Next week, we are going to try to do a special on semi-truck car accidents and hopefully bring in a head injury specialist or expert to talk about how this is processed and see what's going on from there. As always, I will ask you guys to follow us on social media, congratulations to our client who we got rid of your deportation order today. Huge news. That's made my day. Happy birthday to Gloria. She's been working with me for 10 years, and we celebrated in great fashion today. And we all appreciate and love you. And thank you guys for joining us. And we will see you next week on Instagram and Facebook Live. Thank you for joining.